How do all? Welcome to Hebden Bridge. I thought to do a local ride today. I was contemplating about travelling out somewhere a bit further, but a few things to sort out, and I did realise I've not actually been on this ride for quite a long time. So anybody that's new to Hebden Bridge, it is regarded as one of the best areas in Yorkshire for riding. It's absolutely a maze of different types of trails, from the super technical to your climbs, your full-on cross country. There literally is everything here. Majority of the technical stuff is really local to Hebden Bridge, which is located in this part of the valley in Calderdale. So there's a lot of really technical and gnarly downhills and drops, and a lot of riders come here just to session these different features. Not something I'm doing today. I'm out on my lonesome, so I decided to do one of the classic Hebden Bridge loops. This loop today takes us up to the top of the valley, and you basically loop round west. It'll be this one, and head over towards where all the reservoirs are on the edge of Burnley. So it's that part of the world. That's what we're doing today. There's a lot of very fast descents today, a lot of climbing as well. It's a very hilly part of the world, is Hebden Bridge. It's one of the great benefits of this beast, you know, to get on the e-bike. It really does make mincemeat out of these climbs. I mean, you probably can't tell from the video, but this is quite a steep climb we're on now. So just tootling up to the top, and then we'll loop around, like I said, towards the reservoirs, all the way around towards the wind farm, which is down the south of the valley, and then back towards Hebden Bridge. So it's about 20 miles, I think, from memory, this, maybe 21. It's that kind of range. I think it's about 3,000 foot of climbing, which is great, because if that's what the climb is, obviously that's what the descent is as well. So yeah, let's see how we get on today. So if anybody wants to try this ride at any time, I know we're in autumn now and it's coming up to the winter, but this ride is very good all year round. A lot of the sections, which I saw earlier, starts off with a bit of tarmac to get the elevation. It joins a lot of these dirt roads, very similar to this, and the bridle ways that we do go on do not get that muddy. Don't get me wrong, there is a little bit of mud, but there's still a lot of stone around, a lot of slate, so it does drain very well. And you don't have any of the large grass sections, you know, which are great in the summer but just no good in the winter. You know, it's a lot of slop and you're getting plugged in that mud all the time. So this is a very good ride if you do want to give it a go in the winter. Yeah, what a lovely view today. Absolutely beautiful. This is why I'm very fortunate, yeah, to have something like this. You know, literally 25 minutes away, 30-minute drive this morning to get here, park up. From my front door it's actually 13 miles away. I've ridden over here a few times. It's just the extra time you've got to allow for. You know, that takes me just over an hour to get back. So that's the 2 hours of the day gone, you know, before I even started what I class as the proper ride. But you know, it is worth it though, isn't it? It really is. First little descent done. Some riders at the road. Morning. Cheers. Yeah, definitely need to let some air out of these tyres. There was a trail scent in it. Sorry, trail centre over there. I decided to bump them up a little bit. But now I'm on the this stuff. It doesn't like them higher pressures. We've also just gone back to tubeless, so it means I should be able to drop it without too many problems. Right, bit of pressure out of the both them tyres. See if that does a bit better now. Wow, the reservoir's looking very low. I know we haven't had a lot of rain this summer, but yeah, I don't think I've seen it as low as that before for quite a long time. Right, so we're just about to join back onto the main roads. It's not much, it's only about half a mile, and it's going to take us down to the next reservoir, which is going to take us up the Gorpal Stones, which is a very enjoyable technical climb. Very tricky on a normal retro bike, but on these yeah, it's a different thing. What a beautiful view. I said earlier, I'm not a big fan of the road, but when you're on a section of road like this and you've got that in the valley going on, it's yeah, it is very scenic. This gives you time I'm supposed to enjoy it, really, doesn't it? Yeah, so the Gorpal Stones are there on the opposite side of this reservoir. So it's going to cycle around. So we're basically just going to be down there, cycle on the reservoir. You can just see where it starts to climb, and it snakes up the side of the valley and up to the top, so you can see the elevation you're going to get. The good news is when you do get to the top, you lose all elevation on the opposite side on a really long downhill, which is just a normal bridle way, but no pedalling. You can literally just bomb it all the way down as fast or as slow as you want to do it. It's entirely up to you. But yeah, that's Gorpal Stones over there. Let's get over there and see how it's behaving today. Oh, thank you very much. Right, this is the start of Gorpal Stones. Hopefully you won't get one of the lads or the lasses banging into us as they're coming down it. It's a very popular descent, as you can imagine, for very good reason. It's a lot of fun, but it is one of these ones where, since I got this, I have just as much fun enjoy riding up it as I do riding down it. So yeah, it's one of the great things about e-bikes, isn't it? Always used to be them sections of trail, and if you're in the mood, you might ride around something, if you're feeling a bit under the weather or you haven't got the energy. With these things, you can just crank up the power and have a right good go at it, can't you? You can have a right attack. Still got to pick the right line though. There's a few gaps in the Gorpal Stones you've got to be careful about. If you get the wrong line, you can end up stuck really, unless you've got super duper lots of ability, which some riders have. However though, I don't. So got to be a little bit more selective with my line choice. Yeah, but it's definitely a killer climb on the retro. And I'm puffing and panting on this. Yeah. Yeah, it's quite steep, is that? Probably can't tell on the video, but yeah, very steep. There we go. A rider in front of us walking up. Yeah, that's to be expected. It's a very tough climb, it really is. I do. Tough climb is that on that normal bike, isn't it? There we go. I've got to remember the right line to take through that lot. From memory, I think that middle rock does can snag you up if you're not careful. Yep. Now you can probably just see the other reservoirs in the distance. Yeah, that's what we're heading towards. We've got the big descents coming up now, so nothing technical. Nothing to get worried about. If anything else, it's just the usual thing is it's all about the speed. So if you go too fast, you could probably get caught out. If you go down at a moderate pace, yeah, it's fine. Let's get through this little rock garden. There we go. Tyres are definitely feeling a bit better now. Just that little bit of pressure out of them, you know, just lets you soaks up that them bumps just a little bit better. Yeah, it felt a little bit rattly, you know, coming down that first descent, you know, with that higher pressure in. Yeah, there is another little bit of trail down here on the left hand side, just down there, which a lot of people quite like. For me, I just find it a bit too grassy. It's just another option if you're coming up and exploring. Alright, this is the start of the downhill. There's a lot of bloody walkers and runners about, so we'll have to be careful for that. Rider on the right. Thank you. Rider on the left. Thank you. You know, you can't really grumble about your walkers and your hikers, can you? You know, exactly the same as those like they're getting out here and they're enjoying all this. You know, and is there really anything better you want to be doing on your Sunday morning? You know. Morning. But it is a wonderful sport, isn't it? I mean, it really is. Yeah, I've got to say though, like, you know, I mean, I've always been addicted to riding, you know, ever since I got back into it, you know, in like my late teens. But rider on the right. How do? Morning. How do? Right, so now we're just heading down to the next reservoir, and this is the furthest point of the ride before we start looping back round again. Well, I don't believe that. Bloody spoke's gone. You know, something about these bloody wheels. That's probably the 4th spoke to go in the year I've had this bike. Bloody annoying. Right, I'll have to bloody do what till end of the ride. So frustrating, it really is. Well, I'm guessing I popped that spoke when I were, you know, coming down that rocky section. You know, I guess the bikes do get a lot of abuse, don't they? But you know, it's the 4th bloody spoke I've done on that rear tyre since I've had this bike. You know, alright, let's drop down to the next reservoir. Well, as much as I love riding, bloody mechanicals, isn't there? I mean, there's always something, isn't there? I think one of my previous videos I was on about, you know what I mean, what a pain in the arse it is, you know, to get a replacement cassette, you know, because it's running the micro spline 12-speed cassettes, which are a nightmare to get at the moment. You know, and always something. You know, the reason I've just gone back to tubeless is because I was running tubeless and then ended up with a big slash down my tyre, you know, from a rocky section. So managed to, you know, get a new tyre. I had to change the tape because for tubeless tape was coming away from the tyre when I took it off, so re-bedded it in with a tube. Then ended up with a bloody puncture on my first ride because I'm running a tube. And only, when was it, a few days ago, I've converted it back to tubeless on the rear tyre. And now, of course, I've just lost a bloody spoke. And if anybody's actually ever changed a spoke, it's not just taking the tide off again, like, you know, I've got to get all the sealant off and I've got to take all the rim tape off it again, you know. Then I'll have to reapply it, you know. The nipple of the spoke will be in the bloody rim and things rattle around if you don't get them out. Right, so we just come on to the bridleway network over at Duke's Cut. I'll be using these now pretty much all the way back down into the bottom of the valley where Hebden Bridge is. So eventually I will be getting to the downhill section, which was the climb that I started with, which is, yeah, it's usually nice and fast. Only downside is, like anything else on a weekend, guaranteed there will be a few walkers around, a few dogs walkers kicking around. There looks like to be a lot of fella runners out today, so must be some sort of competition or something going on. Up we go. not look it, but this is very, very steep. So it's nothing too technical, as you can probably see. A bit of rock around and a bit of root and such like. Just remember to get that arse over the rear tyre. That's it, and just apply the brakes for what you speed you're comfortable with. And I'm usually solo riding, so I don't do anything too silly. There we go. Oh, so this little track here will take us back to the start in essence. So shortly we'll be joining that bit of downhill. Yeah, that's why you've got to be careful in it really, especially riding on a weekend. You know, these kind of places. You know, Hebden Bridge does really have some absolutely superb riding, but it does get a lot of foot traffic, you know, because like anywhere else, isn't it? You know, it's such a beautiful scenic area. It's one of these old towns, you know, with the tea rooms and going for a cucumber sandwich and all that kind of like. Which means, you know, it's perfect for our walking companions, you know, to pop in there, like, you know, for a brew after they've been out. So you do get a lot of footfall, and you know, even sometimes, you know what I mean, you really want to let loose. In certain places, you know what I mean, you've got to be really cautious, really careful, you know. Riding does still get quite a bit of bad press from what, you know, I still see here and there, you know. And we've got to do as much as we can, really, don't we, like, you know, to keep everyone happy. You know, we all want to continue to enjoy this sport. You know, I love it to pieces, but, you know, we've got to share all this, haven't we, for everyone. So even I'm bombing it down here, you know, really just in the areas where I can see, you know, what's coming. Mainly, is any people there, you know, is there going to be a dog running out in front of me, a little girl, you know, all that kind of stuff you've got to be wary of. You know, you see some at YouTube guys, you know what I mean, they'll go absolutely crazy. You know, if someone came out in front of them, like, you know, they've got absolutely no chance of stopping. You know, it would literally be impossible. As you can see, it's yeah, it's quite rocky down here. I came down here last year in the end of the autumn, and all this lot were covered in leaves, and that was quite interesting, you know, flying down on this stuff. You know, you got a carpet of leaves, but you don't see anything. There we go, I'll go off, just slow down a bit. Morning. Morning. Oh, is it not a good morning, is it? Alright. Well, some are miserable enough, I guess, aren't they? Right. And that's it, really. That's the end of what I class as any of the super duper fun technical stuff. This is just the road that I climbed up earlier. So there's there's nothing here. It's a bit bumpy, you know, there's a few rocks and a few roots like, you know, but, you know, just roll over it, you know, there's nothing to worry about. So now I'll just follow this down to the bottom and then join back on the main road. And then it's just 2 through Hebden Bridge town centre, which will lead me back to my car.